afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome to the Smite Pro League. I'm Tom. That's Taco. We've got 3 games on the docket for you today. Should be very exciting. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July. Now, I hope you have a great 5th of July.
Yeah, I had a pretty fun time a little bit earlier this morning watching that European SML action, and now taking off over into the SPL. We're starting the day with some NRG versus SK.
Yeah, going to be really exciting here. NRG, one of the top teams in our league, up there on the top, 7-2. Team rival 7-3. Both of those teams will be coming to LAN, by the way. NRG now looking at SK Gaming. SK going to be looking for their first victory here of the split, or perhaps NRG delivering their double-digit loss.
And LAN contention obviously not on the line here for SK because, like Tom so kindly mentioned, they have already found their victors over in Europe with Rival and NRG. But the action isn't over just yet. We still have all those matches because you guys voted in that FP, and FP is really important.
Yeah, I definitely want to catch these. And as you saw, 3 matches today on the docket instead of 2. With yesterday's holiday being off, we've taken the Wednesday games and gone, ooh, one was on Tuesday, one will be on Thursday. So NRG and SK, Obey and Mouse are the scheduled matches, and then we'll get a look at CLG and LG over there from North America. So very exciting today so far. And as we said, starting off with the top of the bottom, NRG taking on SK.
And this really is 2 completely different sides of the spectrum, but there is one kind of, I think, bit of hope there if you're SK, and that is the fact that NRG do have a substitute for this set. I believe it's going to be WhoDaBest filling in for Yaman in the mid lane role, and WhoDaBest was also, if he sounds familiar, it's because he used to be the sub or the support player for SK Gaming.
Exactly. SK started the spring split with Badja, who was questionable at best. He was coming off of a hiatus from the game, so they took a gamble on old ex-teammate Badja, and the gamble didn't work out. So they introduced WhoDaBest, who came in and largely filled the role as needed. Then HalfDevil came in, another ex-teammate, and I think despite his hiatus from the game, he definitely has looked a little bit better. But WhoDaBest, important, played the support role. Now he'll be filling in for Yaman in the mid lane.
And it's a really interesting one too. When you talk about SK, I mean, there's a lot of people who are questioning why has this team had such a rough time in terms of finding success, like even one set win. And overall, it's just that they can take matches, but they have those struggles in terms of like closing out the sets. The team has recognized very openly also that, you know, they've got their flaws. They're definitely working to try and adapt to those. And the big thing that I'm really taking note of was Lawbster's direct comment, actually, where look out for this false split.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's unfortunately it's been largely in the jungle. I've seen Lawbster. I've seen shining. I've seen spots of greatness coming out from Lawbster. I've seen spots of greatness coming out from the Hunter role as well. But the jungle just too inconsistent. When Faeles does it, Taco, they win.
When Faeles does it, they win, but I just still can't pin it all on Faeles just yet because there are certain side lane effects that do come into place. There are times where Faeles might be getting off to a very standard jungle start, but then he has to worry about the inconsistency also coming from solo or from duo. That's even fair. Where early picks can occur. And if your side lanes are losing out on their farm, that always has the trickle-down effect onto the jungler, whether intentional or not. And I think that also can be a little bit overwhelming for Faeles at times. I think that in the end, Lawbster can't be the sole source of like stalemating his lane. Every single member needs to step it up, I think, and I don't obviously want to pinpoint it onto, you know, the side lanes are doing awful by any means, because I don't think that's the case either. I just think that if one part of this team is off, then it affects all of them.
I would definitely agree. And as we get into picks and bans for game number 1, yeah, let me clarify. It's not all Faeles' fault, but he certainly needs to pick it up. The jungler, very important.
And NRG up against SK here. Should be an interesting one in terms of picks and bans with WhoDaBest in that mid lane role. I'd imagine that SK could possibly be looking to maybe strip away some of those god choices that they feel WhoDaBest might have some more success with, because targeting out the substitute could maybe make life harder for adapting.
Yeah, and here's actually something I'm not too familiar with. Actually, SK know WhoDaBest. They played with him. Yeah, so I guess they know his mid lane god pool.
Well, WhoDaBest
He played
has always
support.
been a little bit more of a flex type player in my mind because since his time period, I recognize him mostly from the days where I used to play like European ranked a lot, and WhoDaBest I think has always been a relatively consistent member in terms of mechanics. I think that he could play just about any god at a very above average level, not necessarily at a competitive level, but certainly strong enough to where adapting could probably make up for whatever they might be missing out on.
He can tread water.
Yes.
First bans are out. No Zhang and no Giannis, no Chonga and no Artemis, says SK. Thoth first pick overall, answered back by an Athena and a Sylvanas. So 2 Guardians here for SK Gaming. Whether we see Ducky on the Athena or it winds up in the jungle, not exactly Faeles' known playstyle to be picking up those Guardians, but Athena, I think she's way too good right now to really not pick.
I think I'd prefer to see Athena in the solo lane only because of the fact that I can't really picture Faeles playing the Athena.
Same.
She feels a little bit too utility based, and I think that style of play is not necessarily Faeles' direction. I think that he tends to fare best whenever he's on gods that introduce a little bit of utility, but also have the damage factor, and this Ja perfect fit.
Yeah, when I see the last time we really seen Danny was very effective, it's always on the Hun Bats. The Hun Bats very, very, very big of a choice for SK Gaming's jungler. So this time around, going for the Naja, another character that he's been rather successful on. And like you said, I mean, this is largely a character that he can just do the dirty work on, but he's also going to be looking for that control and can absolutely bring it. So Naja here for SK Gaming. They ban out the Sobek and the Odin. And NRG looking to ban in a different direction. Hunter 1 and Mid 1, Chernobog and Ra.
Lawbster and Funballer's god pulls, essentially, is what NRG seem to be taking a note at, and particularly the mages. I don't want to say that Zhang Kui is something that Lawbster would have maybe been leaning towards, but Zhang Kui has been a really strong selection as of late, fairly tanky, does a decent amount of damage, and also has some of that control that you were definitely looking for.
I think he is top 5 oppressive characters in the game right now.
He's very strong.
With Mercury for energy, Mercury's another one of these characters where just left unchecked could arguably just win you the game. Zhang Kui, if he gets an early kill or is just left to his own devices, once he hits that mid-game, 4 items, 3 items online, he just hits that ult and you really can't do anything about it right now. So very glad to see that ban first and foremost from energy. The Mercury scares me. Adapting, I don't care who his mid laner is. Adapting on Mercury is something to be worried about. SK Gaming, though, looks like they are going to bring that solo Athena out. Where are you leaning?
I think I'd still have to lean towards energy, even with WhoDaBest as their sub. I like their composition just a little bit more. I think that their follow-up damage is more consistent than that of SK. SK are going with a decently heavy execution composition, so if they're not able to find those kills off of the Najah ultimates, and then their pick composition kind of falls apart a little bit there, I feel.
Well, I just have one question. We'll see if this game can answer it. WhoDaBest?
Who is the best? Well, we know him. He's a Adaptwig, or he used to be anyway, totally. Interesting game here today. Obviously, Energy and SK, the season's coming to a close. These are almost games of a formality at this point, because Energy have qualified and can't be stopped at being number 1, and SK have not qualified and can't be stopped at being at the bottom.
Well, if there's ever a chance for SK to find a victory in the summer split, maybe against Energy without Yemen.
But then again, I mean, WhoDaBest, if he finds wins here today, that's more better than what SK did this split, which is kind of worrying.
And he used to be on SK as well, so maybe a little bit of redemption from their former support.
Who do you guys think will win today? Will it be Energy with a substitute in the mid lane, or will it be SK? That's a real question here today. I'm excited to see how this works out.
I like the double Guardians from SK at least. The Sylvanas-Athena combination has great setup on top of the Discordia with the Strife and the Madness effect. SK has some merit to their composition. A lot of execution for Faeles with a Naja, so he needs to get off to a great early start, shutting down Adapting's Mercury.
Let's get into game then and find out how game 1 breaks down between the two. WhoDaBest, as we said, a substitute in the mid lane. We'll be playing that tough. So, was someone very simplistic in the mid lane? Totally someone very safe and can sit quite far back.
I mean, he is safe, but he's not simplistic whatsoever.
I meant for safety factor simplistic, you know?
Sure,
Like,
you can clear the wave, you can clear the wave and then just PvE, but if your teammates are relying on you to engage with the Thoth stun during some of these Phoenix sieges, that's where the true test of the mechanics is going to come out from WhoDaBest.
And we'll find out what he does with this. It looks like he's going to be going for that Chronos pendant, which we see now and again. emilitoo and emilZy in the dual lane will get out traded at the start, even with Rama. It's going to force them their shell to keep this pressure going, actually. They've done a very good job of putting the beat down on to Funballer and HalfDevil.
Calculated damage just to ensure that they would invade, but HalfDevil and Funballer not going to give it up quietly, trying to get off some poke trade, delaying energy from invading this purple buff for even about 5 seconds. Gives them some steal potential.
Yeah, they're going to get the babies, but that's about it there, because HalfDevil did a very good job of just poking out emilitoo, and obviously he can secure that for himself now. So if anything, it's a smaller opportunity for SK to get a bit of a lead once this minion wave comes in. The dual lane of energy will be closer towards 2, but SK will be fine for now.
SK have the advantage in terms of experience by grabbing their own purple buff first and forcing out that important shell from emilZy, but having to now go back to their own purple is energy just to keep in line with that pacing could give themselves actually the momentum in this next wave.
Yeah, and it will, just because of the babies more than anything else. So they will be level 3 for the dual lane a little bit earlier. Solo lane Athena versus Cerberus, not tuned in yet, but that will be pretty much a farm fest. Keep an eye out for Ducky in the rotations with that Athena ultimate that will come into play quite nicely later on. And he has that teleport too to get back to the lane if he needs to.
I like the fact that emilZy is using his Terra wall stun to absorb some of those basic attacks from Funballer, avoiding some of the important poke from this Hachiman, allowing the Terra to just top herself off for the moment, because right now, without her monolith, it's hard for her to really sustain in the laning phase, opting to go for 3 health potions and that Chalice of the Oracle to get some very important vision around the gold.
Now this game definitely high skill cap composition from SK, with the fact that there's a NRG on the team for Faeles and Lawbster in the mid lane playing that Discordia. They're great gods, totally, but if you miss the abilities, you do get punished pretty heavily.
And that's why Ducky's playing the Athena, making it a lot easier to confirm some of these abilities. Speaking of confirming,
nice.
HalfDevil's going to get rooted, eats a bit of poke, and more of a panic sprint than anything. I think HalfDevil was fine.
Yeah, the consistent slows out from emilZy there. Just put HalfDevil under enough pressure to use that sprint defensively. And that means there's a small window now in a few seconds where energy will have that shell available and can continue to look to pressure.
And with adapting, getting his own speed buff, not level 5 quite yet, but he back to base already to pick up the Warrior Tabai, could allow him to start looking for some early aggression.
Talk about early aggression, emilZy making a rotation towards mid lane now, and Lawbster needs to be aware of 3 characters around him. emilZy and adapting get a pinch here as Lawbster gets hit by the crushing walls, doesn't use his beads there, looking for a way to dash back to safety, has to use it, but still in the damage from emilZy, surrounded by 3 targets. Lawbster falls.
He was dead to rights. A perfect stunt coming from emilZy just at the tail end of it. And with the follow-up stun also from WhoDaBest, there was even a point in time that I think Lawbster could realistically survive, even if he immediately beads and uses escape. Adapting was covering the option.
Okay, so it wouldn't matter anyway. So at least his beads stay available for Lawbster, so the pressure from level 5 adapting doesn't cause too many problems. We'll find out, though, they continue to collapse on Lawbster mid. It's something that a lot of teams have been looking to do, pressure the mid lane consistently, and SK have fallen for that quite a few times.
It's all about the red buff invades if you can find them, but Funballer grabbing his own, not going to find any sort of offensive stuff after this stuff for energy, but allowing emilitoo a lot of this solo farm is going to put him in a better spot in the mid game. As a ROM, you're looking for that late game power, and by having emilZy stay away from you, there's an advantage there.
Well, first gank on Ducky as the Sonic Boom connects, and it was a good call. Combination between the two, because maniaKK held him just perfectly in place for the Sonic Boom. Ducky leaps, dashes away, back to the safety of his tower. Bit of a misplay here from the teammate. You look, maybe? No.
So close. Adapting needed to reset the tower because maniaKK was just a second too slow. And as a result, the Major Look off of the paralyzing spit was not in range to find lethal.
So looking to try and get maniaKK ahead in that solo lane a little bit early, but didn't find it there. Ducky just teleports back to base. After coming to the base, so he teleports back in, has his whole boots online now, so he should be fine on that solo lane once more.
I'm surprised that Adapting even used his ultimate instead of just walking up to them, knowing that the Stygian Torment was going to come out from maniaKK. Athena can only react to that unless she instantly uses the Defender of Olympus to walk away, so a little bit of a missed opportunity.
HalfDevil under a lot of pressure, and WhoDaBest gets the first kill for himself in the mid lane here, picking up HalfDevil, who was just a little bit lackadaisical on that rotation towards mid. maniaKK, meanwhile, being pressured out thanks to Ducky coming back into this lane. Faeles was hovering, but it won't be enough for a kill.
And without Stitching Torment, it's a prime real estate gank opportunity. Faeles right around the corner. Gonna look for the blue buff invade afterwards, despite not finding the kill. That's a good recognition of a jungler looking for these opportunities.
Oh, Funballer under pressure, has to leap and use the horse to get away too, but comes back around to try and contest the purple. That'll go the way of NRG though, and they continue extending their lead a little bit more so now, finding some more experience from SK's jungle.
This is just a team that recognizes their advantages. Once they have a little bit of a lead, they're going to stretch it even further, looking for some invades on the left side, because the fact that emilitoo getting a slight experience lead by getting some very important solo farm is going to have this advantage. Also, Devil Gloves completed for him. The stacking is going to go through the roof.
emilZy's baiting himself a little bit in the mid lane. It's going to set up a lot of pressure onto HalfDevil, who uses his ultimate, but the Sonic Boom came through to end the life of the support. Faeles trying to turn it around on emilZy though, but he's pretty tanky.
Trying to go for something else. Discordia Apple onto maniaK. Finally, the Terra does go down. maniaK biting off more than he can chew, adapting, coming in to clean up.
This should be a 2-for-2 overall then, in the grand scheme of things. HalfDevil fell earlier on in that engagement, so it was a support and a jungler for a solo laner and a support. Bit of an interesting trade.
Would have been cleaner for NRG if adapting didn't ulti so far away. He had to travel back around in that semicircle to the mid lane, and by the time he already made his presence, emilZy was already dead. maniaK was close to death, and that's something that you need to min-max every now and then. You need to realize, like, okay, if I'm going to ulti that far away, my team needs to kind of escape, but SK Gaming weren't going to allow NRG to run away that time.
Looking towards the land total that's coming up, NRG obviously will be attending. Would we expect to see some more Mercury bands coming into the LAN, a little bit more focused towards that? Because he seems to have been having a very good time of things.
I could definitely see some Mercury bands, like first ban material. There's so many different guys that just come and go with the recent changes to Jean Kui. He's been a more popular band as of late. Chernobog in this specific set was secondary ban, but I know a lot of North American teams prefer it first pick. So in the EU versus North America set, we could see a lot of interesting picks and bans.
I mean, the fans at home as well would have seen the statistics throughout the split. Have seen Artemis as 100% win ratio when she has managed to be picked. Even though we don't see her every game, she's still definitely up there. How that for though? Ducky under pressure, trying to get a bit of room. He may have to ult away from this, but no ult available actually. Adapting to way more damage than he bargained for. He's losing this fight.
He should be fine with maniaK's Ghastly Breath right back up, even coming back in for some punches. Secures the deal. Adapting understands the cooldowns.
Meanwhile, though, emilZy gets picked up on the left-hand side here. SK grouping as 5, looking to punish the rotation out of adapting to that right-hand side. So they just get the support and pick up the oracles for the time being.
They could actually go for this goal here with Ducky coming up in 10 seconds. WhoDaBest ultimate is not available, but not wanting to overstep any boundaries. They realize that adapting is on the right side. They could still go for this with the respawn.
Seems to be the place where we're seeing adaptation hang out a little bit more in this set. Is on this right-hand side, trying to pressure out the Athena and keep full control of SK's jungle, trying to take away those back harpies at every opportunity.
Okay, Ducky uses teleport back to the solo lane. He's not going to make the rotation on the left, but they're going to see a little bit of action in mid.
HalfDevil under pressure at the same time as Lawbster. Split the difference did NRG Esports, but they still managed to find an easy pick onto HalfDevil.
And that's the Sylvanas Bane. He's just a sitting duck every now and then, and adapting's accuracy onto HalfDevil from that far away. With or without ultimate for HalfDevil, he's probably not even going to be able to react to that without important vision.
Yeah, laning phase definitely Sylvanas pretty strong for the push power, but that period between laning phase and mid game, always the awkward place for some of these supports to make sure they've got the protections they need.
It's the Ares syndrome. If you catch Ares or Sylvanas rotating alone in the jungle, then you can easily pick them off, but around their own teammates, they become some serious threats in the laning phase.
Interesting to see the magical defense coming out from HalfDevil first of all, instead of some physical. Obviously, he's done a couple of times so far. I think all 3 of the kills actually went to adapting against him there. But he's still going for magical defense here, which is surprising.
Maybe he wants to go for a Hardware Amulet to get some more mana available, some MP5. The Thoth long-range damage from WhoDaBest is to be respected. Keep in mind that there's some easy setup with emilZy's root being able to crash through that monolith.
Well, in the mid lane now, pressure from Faeles as he does get the ultimate off in time onto emilZy. Takes to the sky. On landing, the apple comes out and emilZy gets picked. answering back. What's happened to HalfDevil this game? Both the supports struggling a little bit.
Even Ducky using his ultimate. To be fair, emilZy just absorbed 4 ultimates to the dome, and NRG not going to capitalize quite yet on it. They still have about a 75-second window to kind of feel it out as emilitoo, with almost completed Devil Glove stacks, making this rotation around the Gold Fury, but it's only for the red.
And you mentioned about emilitoo with those stacks. We're a little bit further behind his Funballer at the moment. We're about 30, 40 stacks. Not as bad as previous seasons, totally. You can definitely just farm into it and not worry too much. But there's definitely a window there with a bit of a power spike in that jaw.
That's true. Sitting at about 40 stacks, you're looking at about 6 waves, which is equivalent to 3 minutes worth of farming, and that could be the window that NRG use. Once that emilitoo hits that level 12, 13 marker, he's going to max out the second ability Pick Me Up and be able to really start burning down that objective, especially if emilZy's right around the corner for either tanking purposes or just a monolith heal.
So it's about 1,700 gold in favor of NRG at the moment. It's nothing too crazy. The experience, marginal at the moment. Good job, actually, from SK for staying in this. But an attempt to the Pyromancer, maybe getting answered back by the Gold Fury, but SK not really in a position to do that. Pyromancer, the way of energy.
In this early game phase, a lot of teams are overwarding the Gold Fury and casually forgetting about the Pyromancer. So NRG, a team not to be slept on, capitalize on any advantage given to them. And even though it's not the equivalent of the Gold Fury Gold Ore experience, you're still really able to make an advantage of it.
Apple on WhoDaBest in mid. Lawbster trying to beat him up, and he's doing a good job of it. Good ultimate from HalfDevil, but Sonic Boom came through at the same time. HalfDevil's going to go down around the same sort of area here, but they can't actually find the last hit because the defense from Ducky was good. maniaKK now on the rotation, but HalfDevil safe enough under his tower. He should be heading to base.
Can't really make anything happen. Adapting going to be able to at least steal away the 2 smalls. He needed to land that punch, but the problem was if he was close enough to that Harpy, the ring bounces galore for Faeles and be able to catch up.
maniaKK was looking to try and cheekily steal away the blue, but won't be able to find it this time around. Instead, heads back towards the lane. Bit of poke out from Faeles here. Good bit of damage, but it's not going to be enough to find a kill with Faeles being solo on mana.
Ooh, the ultimate
Surprised.
from maniaKK. I think he was anticipating Faeles of using the ultimate, wanted to make himself CC immune and not go to the sky.
Which is a good call. Lawbster, though, getting beat up in mid lane now by emilZy, and in comes adapting. But a nice sidestep from Lawbster keeps him alive, and a good pull after the fact. Make sure adapting has to fall back. Lawbster will live in the mid lane.
Great juke from Lawbster, but the snipes coming from emilitoo. He hits the first, but he misses the second and the third. So unfortunate. And adapting, trying to make that play happen. Great juke by Lawbster, but adapting could have easily hit that made you look after.
Just so you guys know at home as well, watching an emilitoo during that ultimate, he had no vision.
Yes, that's
of that.
true.
That was blind. We can see it as, you know,
I think
viewers,
he saw the original back recall,
animation.
but once that was canceled, he didn't know which way he went afterwards. I'm almost curious to see if he could have made that even of a better play by using his first shot away
and then the
Lawbster,
second
so
one.
like he wouldn't have any sort of audio tell and have the second or even the third one do more damage.
Left-hand side, though, Sonic Boom being charged by adapting, maybe looking towards HalfDevil and Funballer, but Faeles. Smells the danger and going to join in on this left-hand side. Big grouping from NRG now on the left, but emilZy going to head back to base. Relatively even game so far. SK, slowly but surely, I've stayed in this one for the time being. I think a lot of people expect them just to roll over and die today.
Well, even without Yam and NRG are still doing a good job controlling the pace. SK Gaming, they still need to find some sort of momentum that works for them in some of these team fights. And thus far, it's been abusing emilZy for the most part.
Ducky's in a bit of danger here on this right-hand side. He's gone a little bit too deep, and now he's going to force out his ultimate defensively. Good bit of damage out from NRG. It's not going to be more than that, though. The rest of SK were on the rotation to support if you needed it.
And without that Athena ultimate, there should be some pressure on the left side. Maybe sit in Funballer, maybe start the Gold Fury. This is the point when emilitoo, sitting at level 14 with Icavile, has plenty of DPS to burn that objective.
And that's the main thing to watch out for. HalfDevil limit, though. On a bit of pressure again as the new minion wave does come through. It's interesting to see adapting play this the way he has done as a mid lane. That was a good pull from HalfDevil onto emilZy, but he won't come to anything. But the Magi's cloak from adapting so early on, he's playing this very passive.
Really wanting to go for something here in mid. HalfDevil with a defensive double knock-up. Speaking of defensive ultimates, emilZy trying to survive, but the rest of NRG looking to clean up.
Oh, adapting just off the mark from Faeles, expecting him to walk back into that ultimate. It wasn't the case. The fight ends up being a wash there as quite a few ultimates consumed.
Very true. I like the Mad Guy's Cloak that you were mentioning, Hindu Man, because Faeles is a good target to negate with the Wind, Fire, Wheel. Speaking of Ducky as well,
Yeah,
with the
the
taunt,
taunts.
the setup of Lawbster. You don't want to get taunted into a strife. You're going to be CC'd forever.
Look at this from SK Gaming, though. They're setting up for a Goal Fury. And EmilZy gets taunted in by Ducky. Apple as well, going to make sure he can't get away. But WhoDaBest removes Faeles from the map. Ducky's still angry about it and will take down EmilZy. But now he's a little bit far forward and adapting is on his way.
maniaKK is in the thick of things. Up in the sky goes emilitoo looking for HalfDevil. He hits the first and the third, and that's all that's needed.
And adapting going to punch Lawbster to death. Ducky's next on the list as he taunts, adapting to try and slow him down for a moment. But the speed buff around his waist. Goal Fury still stands too, Totally, and NRG could look for that.
Definitely can, knowing that maniaKK is zoning away Funballer and that Ducky went to the right side of the map. No potential steals from SK Gaming. NRG, they got the Pyromancer about 5 minutes ago and now secured their first Goal Fury of the game.
Yeah, nice and interesting stats in the fight there. 6,500 damage done by NRG there, where SK only half of that in the grand scheme of things. Good little engagement. That puts him at 5k gold now.
It's taking too long to kill EmilZy at this point in the game. I like the fact that SK Gaming were abusing him earlier.
Yeah.
But now, finishing off Spirit's Robe, EmilZy really recognizing that he's the prime focal target, and a lot of supports will opt to go for these aura items, but you always have to take a step back and reflect, what's the most necessary item in this current state of the game? And realizing this, EmilZy is like, well, I just got to survive.
Yeah.
My teammates are doing more damage than them anyway.
And that's kind of what you do as a support anyway, Tolly. Once you get those first 2 items online, you're happy if they keep focusing you.
Yep.
You're just going to survive that area where you get focused all the time. Lawbster being CC'd to high heaven does jump away, gets the Ducky ultimate, hiding inside the invisibility, but the dot damage was still
just
good.
Can't do anything about that whatsoever. Even with Defender of Olympus for the damage mitigation, even with the Cloud from Discordia to try to hide away, just too much burst damage energy. Find a clean pick as Lawbster's still dead for 20 seconds. This could be the point where they start grouping for some tier 1 towers. emilitoo now with Executioner finished. He's 4 items deep with a level 16 ROM. The DPS onto the towers is going to go down.
You mentioned the level 16 ROM for emilitoo there as well. I mean, it's almost a level a minute. He's only a little bit further behind that at the moment. And his build's coming along nicely. This ROM is going to cause a lot of problems in the later stages. Problems for HalfDevil again, as he's all in under the tower. No one around as the tree falls.
That was perfect from adapting. He canceled the first ultimate, realizing it was going to overshoot the target, so he charges it up yet again. Just barely goes past HalfDevil. Definitely. And this time 1v1.
Big 1v1, but the beach from emilitoo came through and clutch there to turn that around. Funballer did find that stun with the Haijutsu, but emilitoo won the trade.
Surprised that he even went for that in the first place.
Crit versus pen.
The Rage versus Icavile and Executioner, not the play. Just raw damage, raw attack speed is not in Funballer's favor.
And now with that as well, emilitoo just continuing to grow his build even more so, working towards his last item before he has to sell his starter item after all now. 2-0-1 at level 17. Meanwhile, you know, just keep farming the map because there's nothing really for NRG to look to steal away at the moment. Not many camps available.
That's very true. With NRG getting Gold Fury about 2.5 minutes ago, I don't think this is a point where they can get Fire Giant, but it's getting closer and closer to that point. SK Gaming is starting to lose this game right under their fingertips. They need to start warning around some key focal points, and those are the aggressive positionings to spot where adapting is coming from. SK need to be prepared to either defensively collapse onto where adapting is going or completely avoid him and force the action on the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, just that one tier 1 on the right-hand side down right now, but emilitoo trying to make it 2 here. Adaption's on this left-hand side just to support if required, but he did step on a ward, so SK should have an idea this is going on. HalfDevil could be focused again here. It seems to be a telling tale here as the ring toss goes out, but a crit from adapting.
792. HalfDevil is the target.
Lobster's
the Terra's ultimate goes through. Lawbster very low as maniaKK comes in, fails, trying to make something happen, but HalfDevil gets taken out.
And now Faeles surrounded by multiple members of NRG Esports. There's another kill as we approach 20 minutes now. maniaKK going to go in all in for Funballer. Will get the beads out, but Ducky's still here. maniaKK's going to be a little bit careful here. The rest of his team, though, are pushing towers.
maniaKK trying to be the hero that NRG needs just to secure the tier 1 tower, just to allow adapting to go for the tier 2 on the left side. Level 18 Mercury going to easily melt this one away if he had some more melee minions.
Yeah, well, I mean, he'll defend the left one, but the mid one's going to go down as well, especially with Toth being there. And, of course, emilitoo, who's now level 19 in this game. This is getting worse and worse as the game continues for SK.
Definitely getting very scary. There's just not enough defensive capabilities for SK Gaming. Ducky tries to CC players, but just the Mad Guy's Cloak so fruitful for adapting. He will not be stopped, whoever he chooses to punch.
Well, NRG, with how their year has gone, they didn't manage to do anything at the World Championships, unable to defend it for the 3rd year in a row. Then the spring split came round and fans started to see NRG coming back into their own, but couldn't quite make the land when it was required. Summers rolled round though, Tolly, and now they are top of Europe. Can't be caught.
It was the one loss to Obey Alliance during spring, and speaking of Obey, like, they lost both of their sets to Obey also in the summer split, but still, NRG with a dominant enough performance to qualify to the LAN. Luckily for NRG, they don't have to face Obey at the LAN, though.
And that's the question is, like, do teams look back at how Obey played against NRG to work out where the weaknesses of this NRG roster is? Is that the sort of games you want to look at from the tape?
If you're facing NRG, yes. You need to identify what Obey did correctly. Was it more of what Obey did right, or was it more of what NRG did wrong?
And
I
can you replicate it?
And exactly. And I think that Obey have NRG's number to an extent. I think there's definitely a big rivalry there because keep in mind, maniaKK used to be an Obey Alliance. So could be emotions definitely firing that kick Obey to just overdrive level.
So there's pings at the tier 2 tab on the left and then middle Phoenix. And I think that's the call from NRG is get Fire Giant, take left Phoenix, left tier 2, then middle Phoenix. Maybe the call. No one here from SK to defend. And
it's so difficult to defend against a Thoth. Like, his burst damage, no one from SK Gaming can realistically compare that damage. The only way you secure it against NRG is if you have Faeles, take WhoDaBest to the sky, and then dump all your abilities on the Fire Giant.
Tier 2 on the right will fall, and the push on from NRG for a moment or two. Mid lane being pushed out by WhoDaBest and emilZy in tow. emilZy will be looking for the roots wherever possible. As Lawbster
That's a good one.
does manage to catch WhoDaBest. The follow-up's not there.
Well, with Fire Giant sustain and the Monolith, all that poke not going to really matter. It would be important to see if they can find some of those gazelles straying in the backline that SK are going for at this point.
Maybe they'll catch him on here, but maniaKK hanging around, going to get rid of the Magi's cloak off, but emilitoo did actually get picked up by Faeles there into a taunt. There has to be beads away. The Sonic Boom now is adapting, rejoins the fray. maniaKK zoning away multiple targets, sanking up a storm as Rama is in the sky, going to get the Aegis and the shell out. emilitoo still under pressure, but gets support from emilZy and WhoDaBest, so when Ducky ends up falling.
That was a 3-on-1, but
Specifies.
maniaKK in a 4-on-1. He's going to get punished. Adapting, blinking in, one punches Lawbster, catches Faeles, and the special delivery right on top for the double kill.
Totally, that was an engagement where SK Gaming manages to chase down emilitoo and maniaKK, not find either of them for quite a considerable time, and NRG just walk back from base with their new items and pick up the pieces.
That's very true, and I thought that SK Gaming were going to look for that kind of play earlier when it was WhoDaBest going from middle towards the right side, but they couldn't really find him. Instead, they realized that he backed anyway, so at best that they would have a 5-on-4 advantage, but with adapting, just ripping through the jungle, that was a clean fight for NRG.
Respawn time has just taken too long for SK to get back in time. The surrender vote came through, wasn't even needed as NRG take game 1 in 23 minutes.
19-7, adapting, having a wonderful performance in this game with the Mercury. I think that a lot of teams are going to look at this game individually under the microscope and realize that this Mercury is just too strong in adapting's hands.
So take away the Mercury for game 2, you think?
I think take away Mercury forever from adapting, not just this game
fair.
too, but in the LAN in the future as well.
Who do you guys at home think deserves MVP for that game? WhoDaBest played pretty well in the mid lane.
He did, I definitely agree, but I think that adapting just carried it to the next level. I think that his ultimates were in key moments, shutting down HalfDevil, building a little bit of a lead, making also a lot of collapsing plays, isolating Lawbster in the mid lane, covering the options, that 3-man gank individually onto him. Lawbster was at a point where it's like, I'm dead to rights. I'm not even going to use my beats. I know I'm dead.
Was there anything wrong with the picks and bans at all in that game from what we saw? Outside of, obviously, Mercury mentioned maybe not accurate to adapting, but outside of that,
I think SK's picks were fine, honestly. I just don't think that they handled the pressure from the Mercury the way they could have. I think that the dueling, there was so much action in the dueling that if Faeles ever made his presence there, that's where SK could have leaned on.
All right, well, let's get over to the desk to break down game 1 and get ourselves ready for game 2.
What a doozy that was. Jungle coming through, and yeah, I mean, life is easy for WhoDaBest when you're just able to let adapting do adapting.
We saw a lot of adapting, but we just did not see the same from Faeles. I think that Faeles just didn't feel comfortable trying to gank duo after such a huge lead had been amassed for NRG already because of adapting's frequent ganks. And it's one thing for Funballer to, get picked off a couple of times, but it's an entirely different thing when adapting just refuses to let him farm. And that's just part of the repercussions of SK's draft. They went a little bit more for that mid to late game composition, I think, and the heavy pick necessities also that were introduced because of the NRG. I just don't feel like NRG was able to bring the same amount of consistency in terms of a steady pressure throughout this match.
Merc's Merc, man. That's all it is. Adapting came through, Merc to the opposition. MVP going to be King Kenneth himself. 10.0 is his KDA. The man didn't die once. 7-0 and what's the math on that? 6, I believe? Yeah, really intense play coming out from this guy. But like I said, I mean, the player is oppressive and the character is oppressive. If adapting's on his game with Mercury, I don't think it's possible to lose.
Mercury in general just feels like one of those gods that is a definite hyper carry god. And
yes.
When you're in adapting's position, like in what happened in game 1, and when you get that sort of a lead and you're able to just continue to build off of it, we all know that adapting is a phenomenal player. And so you give him an inch, he's going to take more than just a mile.
Without a doubt, game 1.